Olá, chuchus, como vão todos? Quero trazer para vocês hoje uma crônica de uma autora negra norte-americana, estadunidense, que escreveu na primeira metade do século XX, chamada Zora Neale Hurston. Ela foi uma autora muito admirada, inclusive é uma autora admirada pela Alice Walker, e foi uma dessas autoras que foram redescobertas, né, pela crítica muitos anos depois de que já havia até falecido, mas muitos anos depois de ter produzido sua literatura. Ela escreveu contos, ela escreveu peças de teatro e teve uma aceitação boa na época dela, mas acabou morrendo na pobreza e assim, foi muito criticada também em vida. A obra dela também foi muito criticada porque ela ia contra um posicionamento de muitos autores negros, escritores negros da época, que, segundo ela, se vitimizavam, colocavam o negro sempre numa posição de submissão para falar do apartheid, de todos os problemas da violência racial estrutural, do racismo estrutural. E ela, ao contrário disso, sempre mostrava personagens negros fortes, bem resolvidos, bem a coisa do American Dream mesmo, né? Sem ignorar o preconceito, a opressão, mas sempre mostrando um lado positivo. Mas quem era contra ela, né, quem discordava desse posicionamento, dizia que ela, na verdade, estava mascarando, só mostrando o lado otimista da coisa. Mas, enfim, ela até hoje é muito admirada, né? Ela faleceu na década de 50 ou 60, mas depois foi resgatada, né, pela crítica em 78, por volta de 78, no final da década de 70, e passou a ser muito admirada, inclusive pela Alice Walker, como eu falei no início. A Alice Walker admirava a Hurston, dizia que ela foi uma das maiores referências da cultura literária negra estadunidense, porque ela mostrava assim personagens negros completos em si mesmos, né? Vivos, vibrantes. Ela tinha uma personalidade muito vibrante, muito witty, né? Assim, e isso dá para ver no texto que eu vou ler dela, na crônica que eu vou ler dela para vocês, que se chama How It Feels to Be Colored Me. O nome já diz, acho que bastante, né? Agora, só um aviso para vocês, porque como estamos em período de festa junina e a cidade em que eu moro é a cidade da festa junina, né, aqui do Nordeste, então pode ser que vocês escutem os fogos, mas explodindo, né, bombinhas e tal. Eu atribuo isso à personalidade da Hurston, então para mim vai ser como se fosse uma homenagem a ela. Espero que vocês entendam. Tanto é até que a Mori está aqui hoje no meu colinho, porque ela fica muito incomodada com o barulho de fogos e fica pedindo colo. Então, bom, vamos lá então. How It Feels to Be Colored Me, by Zora Neale Hurston. I am colored, but I offer nothing in the way of extenuating circumstances, except the fact that I am the only Negro in the United States whose grandfather on the mother's side was not an Indian chief. I remember the very day that I became colored. Up to my 13th year, I lived in the little Negro town of Eatonville, Florida. It is exclusively a colored town. The only white people I knew passed through the town going to or coming from Orlando. The native whites rode dusty horses. The northern tourists chugged down the sandy village road in automobiles. The town knew the southerners and never stopped cane chewing when they passed. But the northerners were something else again. They were peered at cautiously from behind curtains by the timid. The more venturesome would come out of the porch to watch them go past and got just as much pleasure out of the tourists as the tourists got out of the village. The front porch might seem a daring place for the rest of the town, but it was a gallery seat for me. My favorite place was atop the gatepost, proscenium box for a born first-nighter. Not only did I enjoy the show, but I didn't mind the actors knowing that I liked it. I usually spoke to them in passing. I'd wave at them, and when they returned my salute, I would say something like this: "How do you do? Well, thank you. Where are you going?" Usually automobile or the horse paused at this, and after a queer exchange of compliments, I would probably go a piece of the way with them, as we say in farthest Florida. If one of my family happened to come to the front in time to see me, of course negotiations would be rudely broken off. But even so, it is clear that I was the first welcome to our state Floridian, and I hope the Miami Chamber of Commerce will please take notice. During this period, white people differed from color to me, only that they rode through town and never lived there. They liked to hear me speak pieces and sing, and wanted to see me dance the parsimila, and gave me generously of their small silver for doing these things, which seemed strange to me, for I wanted to do them so much that I needed bribing to stop. Only they didn't know it. The colored people gave no dimes. They deplored any joyful tendencies in me, but I was their Zora nevertheless. I belonged to them, to the nearby hotels, to the county, everybody's Zora. But changes came in the family when I was 13, and I was sent to school in Jacksonville. I left Eatonville, the town of the Olanders, as Zora. When I disembarked from the riverboat at Jacksonville, she was no more. It seemed that I had suffered a sea change. I was not Zora of Orange County anymore. I was now a little colored girl. I found it out in certain ways. In my heart as well as in the mirror, I became a fast brown, warranted not to rub nor run. But I am not tragically colored. There is no great sorrow dammed up in my soul, nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. I do not belong to the sobbing school of Negrohood, who hold that nature somehow has given them a low-down, dirty deal, and whose feelings are all hurt about it. Even in the helter-skelter skirmish that is my life, I have seen that the world is to the strong regardless of a little pigmentation, more or less. No, I do not weep at the world. I am too busy sharpening my oyster knife. Someone is always at my elbow reminding me that I am the granddaughter of slaves. It fails to register depression with me. Slavery is 60 years in the past. The operation was successful, and the patient is doing well, thank you. The terrible struggle that made me an American out of a potential slave said, on the line. The Reconstruction said, get set, and the generation before said, go. I am off to a flying start, and I must not halt in the stretch to look behind and weep. Slavery is the price I paid for civilization, and the choice was not with me. It is a bully adventure and worth all that I have paid through my ancestors for it. No one on earth ever had a greater chance for glory. The world to be won and nothing to be lost. It is thrilling to know that for any act of mine, I shall get twice as much praise or twice as much blame. It is quite exciting to hold the center of the national stage with the spectators not knowing whether to laugh or to weep. The position of my white neighbor is much more difficult. No brown specter pulls up a chair beside me when I sit down to eat. No dark ghost thrusts its leg against mine in bed. The game of keeping what one has is never so exciting as the game of getting. I do not always feel colored. Even now, I often achieve the unconscious Zora of Eatonville before the Hejira. I feel most colored when I am thrown against a sharp white background. For instance, at Barnard. Beside the waters of the Hudson, I feel my race. Among the 1,000 white persons, I am a dark rock surged upon and overswept. But through it all, I remain myself. When covered by the waters, I am, and the ebb but reveals me again. Sometimes it is the other way round. A white person is set down in our midst, but the contrast is just as sharp for me. For instance, when I sit in the drafty basement that is the New World Cabaret with a white person, my color comes. We enter chatting about any little nothing that we have in common and are seated by the jazz waiters. In the abrupt way that jazz orchestras have, this one plunges into a number. It loses no time in circumlocutions, but gets right down to business. It constricts the thorax and splits the heart with its tempo and narcotic harmonies. This orchestra grows rambunctious, rears on its hind legs, and attacks the tonal veil with primitive fury, rending it, clawing it, until it breaks through to the jungle beyond. I follow those heathen, follow them exultantly. I dance wildly inside myself. I yell within, I whoop. I shake my assegai above my head. I hurl it true to the mark, you! I am in the jungle and living in the jungle way. My face is painted red and yellow and my body is painted blue. My pulse is throbbing like a war drum. I want to slaughter something, give pain, give death to what I don't know. But the piece ends. The men of the orchestra ripe their lips and rest their fingers. I creep back slowly to the veneer we call civilization with the last tone and find the white friend sitting motionless in his seat, smoking calmly. Good music they have here, he remarks, drumming the table with his fingertips. Music. The great blobs of purple and red emotion have not touched him. He has only heard what I felt. He has only heard what I felt. He is far away, and I see him but dimly across the ocean and the continent that have fallen between us. He is so pale with his whiteness then, and I am so colored. At certain times I have no race, I am me. When I set my hat at a certain angle and saunter down 7th Avenue, Harlem City, feeling as newty as the lions in front of the 42nd Street Library, for instance. So far as my feelings are concerned, Peggy Hopkins Joyce on the Bull Mitch, with her gorgeous raiment, stately carriage, knees knocking together in a most aristocratic manner, has nothing on me. The cosmic Zora emerges. I belong to no race nor time. I am the eternal feminine with its string of beads. I have no separate feeling about being an American citizen and colored. I am merely a fragment of the great soul that surges within the boundaries. My country, right or wrong. Sometimes I feel discriminated against, but it does not make me angry. It merely astonishes me. How can anyone deny themselves the pleasure of my company? It's beyond me. But in the main, I feel like a brown bag of miscellany propped against a wall in company with other bags, white, red, and yellow. Pour out the contents, and there is discovered a jumble of small things, priceless and worthless. A first water diamond, an empty spool, bits of broken glass, lengths of string, a key to a door long since crumbled away, a rusty knife blade, old shoes saved for a road that never was and never will be, a nail bent under the weight of things too heavy for any nail, a dried flower or two still a little fragrant. In your hand is the brown bag. On the other ground before you is the jumble it held, so much like the jumble in the bags. Could they be emptied, that all might be dumped in a single heap and the bags refilled without altering the content of any greatly? A bit of colored glass more or less would not matter. Perhaps that is how the great stuffer of bags filled them in the first place. Who knows?